Hello sir and hello everyone, my name is Vivian Vanessa with student number B1024-1004. I'm a student majoring Management in International Class Department in Universitas Tanjung Pura. I'm a student from batch 20 and 20. In this video, I would like to explain about the chapter 14 of HRM lecture, namely Risk Management and Worker Protection. So here it is. First, I would like to tell you about what I know about this topic. So, risk management is involved responsibilities to consider physical, human, and financial factors to protect organizational and individual interests. Its scope can range from workplace safety and health to disaster preparation. Meanwhile, worker protection is employment protection refers to both regulations concerning hiring and firing. Effective risk management and good worker protection is a key component to strategic management. Next, I'm gonna talk about a video that I have already watched. So the topic is about risk management and workers protection, and the speakers explained to me about the importance of risk management is to keep employees safe, to maintain risk-free environment, and to prevent company from being liable. And the HR team in an organization does two things to protect the workers: by remove any risk and complete multi-step process. And this multi-step process consists of identify hazards, evaluate and implement, and the third one is control and reassess. From this video, I do learn about how to protect workers by removing risk. We may think it is easy, but actually it ain't. There are a lot of activities that we need to do as the HR team in the organization to be carefully identified and to ensure the safety of our workers. Next, I'm gonna mention about the four components of risk management. The first one is workplace safety and health. In workplace, safety is a condition in which the physical well-being of people is protected and health is a general state of physical well-being of people is protected. The second one is employee health or wellness promotion. Employee health is promoted by employers at several levels to improve organizational operations and individual employee productivity. The third one is workplace and worker security. Security of workplaces is important to protect the workers, particularly as the frequency of workplace violence increases. The fourth one is disaster preparation and recovery planning. Disaster preparation and recovery planning have grown as important HR concerns. A disaster recovery plan is a comprehensive statement of consistent actions to be taken before, during, and after a disaster. The plan should be documented and tested to ensure the continuity of operations and availability of critical resources in the event of a disaster. Okay, next I'm gonna talk about the three major legal areas affecting safety and health. The first one is we have workers' compensation. So under these laws, employers contribute to an insurance fund to compensate employees for injuries received while on the job. There are payments to cover medical bills and for retraining, replace wages for injured worker, include emotional impairment also. The costs have become a major issue for many employers, usually represent from 2% to 10% of payroll for most employers. Okay, the second one, there is American with Disabilities Act and safety issues. So under the Americans with Disabilities Act, or we know as ADA, when making accommodation for injured employees through light duty work, employers may undercut what are really essential job functions. It requires all medical related information to be maintained separately from all other confidential files. Specific access restrictions and security procedures must be adopted for medical records of all types, including employee medical benefits claims and treatment records. The third one, there is child labor laws. Safety concerns are reflected in restrictions affecting younger workers, especially those under the age of 18. This law found in Section 12 of the Fair Labor Standards Act, or known as FLSA, work-related injuries of younger workers are significant issue for employers with many youth employees. The degree to which workers engage in work-related risk is a significant factor that affect the type and rate of injuries and safety practices of younger workers. Okay, next I'm gonna talk about the two basic of some professions that have been recognized as key to employers' responsibility to comply with OSHA. So the first one we have general duty, and the second one we have notification and posters. So in general duty, the act requires that the employer has a general duty to provide safe and healthy working conditions, even in areas where OSHA standards have not been set. Have not been set. Employers who know or reasonably should know of unsafe or unhealthy conditions can be cited for violating the general duty clause. Meanwhile, for the notification and posters, employers are required to inform their employees of safety and health standards established by OSHA. Also, the OSHA itself, the poster must be displayed in prominent locations in the workplace. Next, I'm gonna talk about the necessary components related to managing safety effectively and reducing accidents. The first is organizational commitment. Organizational commitment is a comprehensive safety effort that should be coordinated at the top level of management and include all members of the organization. It also should be reflected in managerial actions. The second one is policies, discipline, and record keeping. Designing safety policies and rules and also disciplining violators are important components of safety efforts. Frequently reinforcing the need for safe behavior and frequently supplying feedback on positive safety practices are also effective ways to improve the worker safety in our organization. The second one is training and communication. Safety training involving behavioral modeling, lots of practices, and dialogue is most effective. Safety training can be done in various ways. Regular sessions with supervisors, managers, and employees are often coordinated by HR staff members. Communication of safety producers reasons it becomes a reason why accidents occurred, and what to do in an emergency is critical. Without effective communication about safety, training is actually will mean insufficient. The last one is participation or safety committees. A safety committee generally meets at regularly scheduled times, has a specific responsibility for conducting safety reviews and make recommendations, changes necessary to avoid future accidents. Usually, at least one member of the committee comes from the HR department. Okay, then the last one is inspection, investigation, and evaluation. The phases of accident investigation are identifying why an accident occurred is useful. Taking steps to prevent similar accidents from occurring is even more important for our organization. We move to the next one. I will talk about the kind of security management in HR managers' responsibility for security program. The first one is security audit. In security audit, HR staff conduct a comprehensive review of organizational security, sometimes called as a vulnerability analysis. Such an audit uses managers inside the organization and outsiders. The second one is controller access. A key part of security involves controlling access to the physical facilities of the organization. Many workplace homicides occur during robberies. Therefore, employees who are most vulnerable, such as taxi drivers or convenience store clerks, can be provided bulletproof partitions and restricted as access areas. The third one is violence training. Managers, HR staff members, supervisors, and employees should be trained on how to recognize the signs of potentially violent employee and what to do when the violence occurs at that time. Next, I'm gonna talk about some key practices that we can do for dealing with older workers. The first one is keep an open mind. The second one is we have to appreciate lifestyle differences, and we can encourage to learn new skills from them, and we can find commonalities. We must be open to the feedback from each other, and then we have to take time to understand their motivations, because everyone's motivation is different, so we have to respect it also. And the last one is we have to appreciate lifestyle differences. Next, I'm gonna explain about the components of disaster planning. The first one is organizational assessment. So in organizational assessment includes establishing a disaster planning team, often composed of representatives of HR, security, information and technology, operations, and other areas. And the second one is human impact planning. A number of areas are part of human impact planning, including items such as having backup databases for numerous company details along with employee contact information. The third one is disaster planning. All of the planning efforts may be wasted if managers and employees are not trained on what to do when disasters occur. This training covers a wide range of topics, including the first one is first aid or CPR. The second one is hazardous materials containment. The third one is disaster escapements. The fourth one is employer contact methods. And the last one is organizational restoration efforts. So as a closing comment for my video, I would like to say this chapter is very interesting for me because I do learn about the risk management and worker protection, which we know that in our country itself there are a lot of corporations or small business that hasn't implemented a right risk management and worker protection, because not everyone be aware of this kind of rules, because the employers give more concern about the profit that they will gonna have and the things that we're gonna sell, or what services that we're gonna provide. But sometimes in some corporations, in some small businesses, risk management and worker protection become less concern from the employer. So that's why when I learned this chapter, I do really love it, because I do gain new knowledge about how can we as the employer to implement the risk management, and how we do the steps that has already explained from the video that I have already watched. There are 3 steps which we have to evaluate. We have to for the first one, we have to identify what risks that may occur, and we have to know how to prevent them, and then we evaluate our plan about the risk management for our worker protection. Is it good or not? Then we reassess it. If it's good, then we can continue our planning for our worker protection and also the risk management. But if it's not, then we have to evaluate it more and identify what risks that may occur in the future, and also how can we overcome the risk if it happens at that time. So that's the end of my video. Thank you very much for your attention.